Hey, it's Andrew Huang. This is a Rhodes Mark 8, which costs over $10,000. And here's a much cheaper plug-in version of it. And today I want to compare these two things as a microcosm for something that I see a lot of beginners wondering about and a lot of more advanced users or pros arguing about, which is this question of whether hardware or software is better. And for me, they're both amazing at very different things. Let's explore. Full disclosure, Rhodes is sponsoring this video, but they have no say over the content and they're not seeing it before I post it. They just asked me to do something with both their hardware and their software, and I thought this was the perfect opportunity to explore this topic. So first, let's have some fun with the listening test. I'm gonna play you some music I've been working on, see how confidently you feel you could tell whether you're hearing the hardware or software Rhodes. Here's some examples where the Rhodes is going through a lot of effects, both the onboard effects and some third-party ones, so I'm interested to know how you feel this affects the way that you hear it. Like, could the extra processing mask which one it is, or would it accentuate which one it is? That last one, by the way, is the one I just released. It's called Beef because the bass line is B-E-E-F. I don't know why my brain told me I said 3 E's, but B-E-E-E-F would probably also be a good bass line. I'm gonna play you a different section of Beef now where the Rhodes is playing that bass line, but it's layered with 2 bari saxes and an acoustic upright bass. So if anyone feels 100% confident about picking this one out, I'll be very impressed. And don't think that it's just the software one because the previous part of the song used the software one. I actually played the bass line on both the plugin and the real thing and compared them and picked my favorite for this use case. So have a listen. So yes, I picked the plugin over the hardware in this particular instance. Here's what they sound like. Here's a V8, and here's the Mark 8. Hearing how these parts layer with the other instruments playing the bass line, it just made a lot more sense to use the plugin. So I'm interested to hear how you did on these tests. Leave a comment. I will say for me, anytime I've checked out a hardware versus software shootout or done one myself, I perform a little bit better than just random guessing, but I definitely don't often get a perfect score. And the times where I really do think I can tell that it's the hardware, the sound isn't actually all that better. The emulations have just gotten so good. We're really spoiled right now. But even if there isn't any difference in sound, I'm often still interested in hardware for all the other advantages that it offers. So let's talk about hardware versus software now, and the advantages of each. Pro for hardware, like I just mentioned, in some cases it might sound a little bit better. Counterpoint, the software can also sound better sometimes. You just heard an example where I subjectively chose the plugin over the real thing, and the hardware can also have problems. It can be noisy, it can be susceptible to temperature changes or wear and tear that affect the quality of the sound. Counterpoint to the counterpoint, sometimes we like the sounds of imperfections. Sometimes it's just vibier or more emotional when it's not a perfect, pristine sound. Counterpoint to the counterpoint to the counterpoint though, the software is also getting pretty good at emulating some of those kinds of imperfections, and it performs consistently, whereas hardware in a state of wear and tear is going to continue wearing and tearing and may eventually even fully break. Counterpoint to the counterpoint to the counterpoint to the counterpoint, software can also break. Sometimes it can be buggy, it might not continue to be supported, and could stop working entirely when computers or operating systems change in the future. I'm gonna stop counting the counterpoints now. Pro for software, digital allows you to do all kinds of impossible things. MIDI editing lets you fix mistakes or change the entire key you played a song in. You can create parts that are beyond your skill level to perform or beyond any human's skill level to perform. With MIDI, I can pitch bend on a Rhodes. Pro for hardware, there's definitely stuff you can do with the hardware that you can't do with the software. Like I could sample myself hitting the side of this instrument. I could take off the lid and mess with the tines. I could put stuff on top of them to do kind of a prepared piano situation. There's just a lot more kind of messing with it that you can do. Pro for software, it's more portable if you use devices like laptops or tablets or even a phone. Pro for hardware, the bigger and heavier it is, the harder it is to steal. Pro for software, recall. You can bring back your old sessions and presets and have them sound the exact same. Pro for hardware, because it's harder or sometimes impossible to recreate the exact same sound in the future, you're forced to be in the moment and you'll take your ideas as far as you can because you just don't have as much option for coming back and picking up where you left off. And let's be honest, sometimes you plan to do that and it just never ends up happening. Pro for software, presets. I'm mentioning them again, but for a different reason, which is that you can quickly explore a huge range of tones with just a few mouse clicks. Like on this Rhodes plugin, I can just flip through different sounds, while on the Mark 8, if I want to dial in something completely different, I'm adjusting up to 17 knobs and 11 buttons, and so there's just no way I can audition as many creative possibilities. Pro for hardware, it generally has better resale value. Pro for software, it's usually more affordable in the first place. Pro for hardware, it's easier to integrate with other hardware. Pro for software, it's easier to integrate with other software. Pro for hardware, there's no latency. You're dealing with something that responds so closely to your performance, so it just feels better to play. Pro for software, if you've got a fast enough computer, you can get the latency down super low, and then you can make it feel like whatever you want. I could play the Rhodes with easier to press keys. I could play it with a joystick. I could play it with a plant connected to a Eurorack module that has a biofeedback sensor that scales and converts its surface conductance to control voltage that I could then convert to MIDI and even transpose and arpeggiate before it hits the plugin. I could play with a patch cable that I dip into my coffee. Pro for hardware, it's better for playing with other people. When you're on a computer, you're often just kind of taking turns and you spend more time looking at the screen than at each other. When you've got a room full of musicians, or even just two musicians, usually it's a better time if you're in front of some hardware. So at the end of the day, I feel like the answer is that both hardware and software are great for very different reasons, but let's also not forget the even more important conclusion, which is that your listeners won't care what you're using if the music is good. See you next time.